Welcome, heathens and witches, to the Horn
and Cauldron
podcast regular edition. I'm John Norgrove. This is Julie Norgrove, your whenever it comes out podcast hosts, and we're doing blots. We're doing what is the word for blots?
We're doing Sabbats.
We're doing Sabbats. It is late. I am tired.
We've been sick for a week.
We've been sick for a week
after being gone for a week,
which is just a great combination for energy. And then I literally at the last possible minute remembered I had to work out tonight, and then also that we had to do this. So,
but hey, we're doing it, and we know you love it.
This year we're doing 105s for the Sabbats, which means that this most recent Sabbat is Lughnasadh?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Lughnasadh 105.
Also known as llamas.
Yes. Yep, like the bread.
Like the animal. Llamas.
Llamas. Like Cusco.
Yeah, like Cusco.
Like Cusco. Like Cusco's blot. The blot for Cusco. Blot specifically engineered for Cusco. Cusco's blot. Fucking great movie.
You know what? That would make just as much sense as the reason why it's called Lughnasadh, so okay.
It works. Yeah, it totally works.
If you don't know what that means, check out the previous installations of Lughnasadh's 101 through 104.
That would
101
be what
through
happens
104.
Before 105, yes.
So where we talk about not only Lughnasadh, but the traditions and history thereof.
Yeah, so those will all be linked in the dibbly-doo below. While you're down there, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe. Tell us what you do for Lughnasadh, and tell us what movies you would watch for Lughnasadh, because for the 105s, we decided this year to watch movies. Companion movies that sort of bring about the energy of the season and or have that name in it, Midsummer.
And as we near the end of Lughnasadh's season, because we're about ready to go into Mabon season, we thought that the movies that most feel like Lughnasadh to us are The Wicker Man.
Yeah, so before we get into it, we actually came up with this, all the way back in the first summer Sabbat.
Yes.
Right? Because we're obviously Midsummer, duh. And they're like, what about Lughnasadh? And we were both just obviously, Wicker Man.
Yes.
Right? So because it's 105s, we decided to watch some movies, and we're going to go through the movies and sort of do a magic in media and talk about these movies. Now, for some of these Sabbats this year, we've done single movies, a la Midsommar. And for some of these, we've done
double features,
a la
Beltane for A Midsummer Night's Dream,
where we watched both the more modern one and the classic. So we did the same thing for The Wicker Man. We started with 2006's Wicker Man, featuring one
Nicolas Cage,
the
true god.
One true immortal, defender of the Constitution, as we well know.
Knower of the cosmos.
That's true. Maybe he can see forwards in time, maybe.
Protector of Alcatraz.
Yeah, exactly. Kinda.
Author of faces.
Yeah, he does occasionally off a face. Right? Yep. He can also steal a car, but has a heart of gold, or whatever the plot of that movie was.
Man, I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's such a great ensemble.
Also, one time he got stuck in an extra-temporal dimension full of various Asian and white people that spanned multiple cosmos, and he was a criminal, and he had to get on a suit that could blow his balls off if he didn't save a princess from a time demon or something. Boy, that movie was a hallucination. Also, real shitty dad when his kids are like, there's something spooky in that well. Shitty dad.
Yeah.
Actually, he's kind of a real shitty dad in a couple of movies.
One of my favorite things to do with Nicolas Cage movies is decide which of his movies are in the same
universe as these movies.
Well, I feel like every Nicolas Cage movie is just Nicolas Cage living out his life in a different multiverse extension of himself, right?
Yeah.
But because obviously that's Nick Cage. But I like to think of which movies combined are in the same one. I firmly believe that Mandy and the one where he's in the abandoned not a Chuck E. Cheese TM are the same universe. Like those happen.
Oh,
like Mandy happens.
He's the security guard in that.
Yeah, well, he's not a security guard.
He's just spending the one night.
Spend the one night.
Yeah,
he's like a drifter. So I firmly believe that those two movies exist in the same timeline and multiverse.
Yeah.
So I always like to think like which of Nicolas Cage's movies.
Honestly, I think that exists in the same universe as A Color Out of Space. I think he did a Mandy, then a spooky Chuck E. Cheese. It wasn't an off-brand Chuck E. Cheese, legally distinct Chuck E. Cheese. Right? Venn diagram between Chuck E. Cheese and Five Nights at Freddy's, whatever that fucking movie is. Mm-hmm. And then he, was like, okay, for sure less drugs. And then, settled down with a lady and had kids, and then come to find out the drugs found him.
Yeah, so
anyway.
In my headcanon, The Wicker Man 2006 is a continuation of the timeline of the movie The Rock. So in the movie The Rock, he has the girl and the love interest. They do the thing. The movie ends, and then he is supposed to live happily ever after with the girl. He's an FBI agent. So in my headcanon, him and the girl have a bad falling out. They divorce. After the divorce, he gets involved with this chick that is the linchpin for the movie The Wicker Man, and then he basically reinvents his life as being a CHP, also in Northern California.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, it's got California plates, and they've got a Northern California map.
Yeah.
And it doesn't actually say where it's filmed, and I didn't look super deeply into it, but both John and I
it's pretty heavily implied
it's
in San
pretty
Francisco.
Implied that it's north of San Francisco.
Yeah.
In the vague area, 2-hour radius of where we live.
Yeah.
So that is my
even though we know the island is in
Washington, but he has to travel to get there.
Yeah.
So that is my headcanon.
Yeah.
That this is the same Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage from the movie The Rock.
Yeah, I'll accept that. I agree to that.
Yeah.
I agree to that. Yeah. So we watched 2006 A Wicker Man, and then when we got done with that, we watched 1973's A Wicker Man featuring Christopher Lee as Mr. Summer Isle.
Yeah.
Which, boy, are these...
These are such different movies.
Deeply different movies.
Wow,
even though they're,
these are
sort of the
movies.
same, core concept.
They follow the same, bullet point outline for the most part.
Sure.
As the other movie. And the Nicolas Cage movie does a lot of nods to the original. I noticed the last name of the little girl and the ex for him is the same as the last
name
of the
names are the
guy. No, the name isn't the same as in the first movie.
No, I just mean the names.
Yeah.
In general, the Summers Isle, it was Sister Summers Isle.
Yeah, but
instead of Sir Summers
Willow
Isle.
and her daughter Rowan, their last name in the Nicolas Cage movie is Woodward.
Yeah,
and that is the name of the man who played the cop in the first movie.
Yeah,
his actual real life name.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
there's a lot of little
nods to it in that respect.
It's clear that the source material for the Nick Cage movie is the original 70s movie. It's also, and don't get me wrong, I like the Nick Cage movie. It's also very clear that maybe they weren't fully paying attention when they watched the first fucking movie.
Well, this is
you know what I mean?
kind of
I feel like maybe they were like, hey guys, we're gonna redo Wicker Man, and everybody was like, that's a great idea. And so they got the team, they're like, come on, we're gonna do we're gonna watch the original together. And they got the team together at Nick Cage's house, probably, big dinosaur in the background, you know how crazy this man is, right? Got him together at the house, and Nick Cage was like, drugs for the party? And everybody was like, obviously, right? And then it was a party, and the movie was on in the background, and they got bits. Bits were got. That one nerd was sitting there taking notes. But for the most part, it's not the same fucking movie.
No, it's totally not. However, I do love this movie in its own very specific way.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, and just as a heads up for you if you're watching it, most famous scene in the movie, not the bees, not always in the movie.
Yes.
So we didn't know that we watched this until we got to the part and I was like, where is not the bees? Right? I've seen this movie too many times.
Yeah.
Right? So I looked into it and it seems like there are two versions of the movie. One version that's a little bit more brutal and it's got the not the bees and where his legs get knocked in with a club.
Yeah.
Or is the main scene that's cut. And the version that we watched, which doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So
and we didn't know it was there
was not made
no
clear.
indication.
We bought the movie, by the way.
Yeah, there was
so
no
it wasn't like
indication
an option or something. We didn't like select the like lame version or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. We're gonna keep an eye out for a DVD version and see if the DVD of the movie has something different. So just keep that in mind if you're watching the movie and you're like,
that you may not see the most important
where's the
scene
bees
in the movie,
or whatever,
which is
the bees. Second most important scene is the bees. Because we know what the first most important scene is in that movie.
Nicolas Cage punching a bunch of women in the face.
Nick Cage dressed like a bear,
oh,
absolutely
yeah.
fucking demolishing that one lady. Just because it's so funny and like it's almost played for comedy.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like it just like fucking slam cuts to this lady being like, "Ah," and Nick Cage just running in from off screen, just go like, "Wah!" Like haymaker this lady to the earth, and she drops like a cartoon character, and he just runs out of scene. It's so fucking ridiculous, dude. It's like maybe one of my favorite Nick Cage scenes. Full stop.
Well, and it's not just that one scene, right? He goes through and he just like.
Oh, he punches the shit out of so many ladies.
A bunch of ladies on this island. So why is he decking ladies on this island, you may ask, if you have not seen this? First
oh
of all,
my god, if you
it.
have not seen this movie, you are so confused
At the
now.
time that we are recording this was not available on streaming anywhere for free.
Yeah.
And we had to purchase it, but you could also rent it for a pretty nominal cost, right?
Yeah, I think a rent was like a couple of bucks, $4.
Yeah, so
US at the time that we watched
highly worth the rent cost of it for sure, right? So basically, the premise of this movie is that Nick Cage is like a CHP in California, and he pulls over this lady and their daughter, and they're in this like in the station wagon, and the daughter keeps throwing this toy out the window, right? So
like
he gives
doll.
the toy back. She throws the toy into the road, and then he goes to pick it up, and this semi truck absolutely demolishes this car. However, they never find the bodies.
Yeah.
So
he's
car. They
like
never
a distraught
ID them. He is so distraught.
He's like a distraught cop who like he's having to take like some pills.
He's got like PTSD about it.
The migraine or the PTSD is not made entirely clear because they don't seem to really work based on what I've observed.
We're not really sure, but he's getting hallucinations. About this. So
he's
having
like kid flashbacks about this little girl that got like, you know, because he the car gets demolished and it's on fire, and like he goes like he like takes his motorcycle helmet off and like bashes it in the window to like, little girl, give me your hand so I can save you, and then she just like looks at him like, what?
Yeah.
And then like the car does like a very tiny explosion and it throws him to the concrete, and then he wakes up in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
So we know, who knows where the hallucinations came.
He's very distraught about this.
Yeah.
He's taking time off from work about it, and then he gets a letter from his ex, his big ex.
Yeah.
Not the rock ex, but his big ex of like 10 years ago. They were engaged, they were going to be married, and this lady just absolutely walked out on him overnight. Yeah. And she's like, you know how you always ask me where I was from? Like, come visit me. Things aren't great. I have a daughter. She's perfect. She's missing. Nobody on this island that is the commune that I grew up in is going to help me. Only you can help me, Obi-Wan. You're my last hope.
Yeah, exactly.
So he goes out to this island, and this guy
drops everything to go do this.
Yeah, he drops everything to go do
also,
this.
in the letter, there is a picture. And the picture is
of
the little girl from the car that they haven't found the bodies from. However, he never brings that up.
Not even once.
But he does have a picture of the little girl. So once he's on the island, he goes like, have you seen this little girl? But like before he runs away to this island to find
this
lady,
connects that this is the same girl from that accident.
Yeah.
That we saw, or whether it's hallucination, it's really unclear.
It's weird.
They just sort of drop that piece. That's just a hanging Chad out there. So this man goes out to this island, and at every single turn gives you the most middle-aged, upper-class white man audacity ever. This man waltzes onto this island and just like assumes that everyone is just going to do whatever he says.
He also keeps saying that he's
just like, I'm a cop.
I'm a cop. And like the ladies who are honestly getting such a kick out of this man.
Yeah, they're just so over there the whole time like
totally. All right. Regularly point out to him that he's a cop from California and he is now in Washington. You're not a cop here.
Yeah, one of them even says, "This isn't your jurisdiction," and he's like, "I'm a cop." And
everything's my jurisdiction.
We heard.
Yeah.
This guy has to go and so he goes and he conducts the most haphazard investigation ever known to man.
Well, arguably, the first 3/4 of the movie, it's no investigation. He asks a question. They give him, answer these riddles 3.
Yep.
He does a scream. And then they go okay, here's a piece of information that has nothing to do with anything, that doesn't make any sense to him, that just makes him more angry.
He's like, she's dead, right? And they're like, we don't say that word here.
Yeah.
And he's like, what word? Dead? And they're like, yeah, we don't say that here. Yeah. And he's like, well, where's her body then? And they're like, well, we believe that when somebody dies, their body gets recycled back into nature, and their body is in the earth and the wind and the trees and everything. And he's like, where is the body? At one point in time, this guy walks into this schoolroom and is like, hello, children, have you seen this little girl? Tell me, pass this picture around. Have you seen this little girl? And they do. And all of these little girls, who are somewhere between 8 and 22,
for fucking real,
are like, no, never seen this girl before, ever. There's and he's like, okay, let me write her name down on the board. Walks over to the chalkboard where the teacher was just teaching.
That has a lesson on it.
That has a lesson on there. Erases half of this lesson to write in the largest letters possible this little girl's name. There is fully room on the bottom of this chalkboard
to write her name.
Absolutely slays me to no end.
It's so good.
It is so wild.
Right. And then of course they say no. And he goes what's with that empty desk over there? And they're like, nothing. And he opens the desk and there's a fucking bird in the desk. And he's like, ah! And they're like, we just put that in there. No.
We just put it in there to see how long it would take.
Yeah, right? Because they're
to
crazy.
Decease?
Yeah, because they're crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And then he's like, let me see the school ledger or whatever it's called, the attendance book.
Yeah.
And he flips 2 pages back and her name's on the attendance book. And he's like, you little fucking liars. You're just a bunch of liars, aren't you? You're just lying. I'm a cop. And he just loses his mind on these kids. And the teacher's like, okay, we can go talk outside now. Thank you. Right?
And every single encounter with every person in this town is very
about
much
that
this
crazy.
Way. It's all very much crazy.
Yeah.
So
also, he's allergic to bees.
Oh yeah, he's allergic to bees.
They set this up early on. He's also every time there is a bee buzzing around him, as opposed to being ooh, that's a bee. Get away from me, bee. He's like, he freaks out and is swatting at the bee, which if you've never been around bees, which feels crazy, that is how you get a bee to sting you.
That is exactly how
so
you
he's just the most overly emotional, panic attacky guy humanly possible.
So when he gets to this island, we end up fairly early on meeting his ex, and this girl is whacked out, right?
Oh, she's so
she's
sus.
Giving only the minimum number of answers, and sometimes even less than that. She is very sus. At one point, I'm like, is this woman absolutely on drugs? Does she even know what's happening? Because none of this stuff really makes sense.
Yeah.
However, so this
the actress
island
is really portraying
yeah, she's really given maybe she got a bit of lobotomy.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of the lobotomy.
Yeah. Microdosing LSD every single day for the last 30 years energy.
So this island, the whole shtick with this island is they have bees, right? They have a harvest, they have bees, they're a little commune away from the world.
They're a lady commune.
Yeah, but it's all ladies, except for a handful of men.
Yeah, but they're
But they don't talk?
They're
maybe
quiet.
They don't have tongues?
Yeah, that's another one. I think there's a scene cut out in the version that we watched
where one of the guy
opens his mouth and you see there's no tongue or something.
Think so too.
I seem to remember there being a scene like that.
Yeah, so
from the original.
So the only people on the island are women and also mute men who are doing menial tasks.
They're laborers.
Yeah, they're moving logs and stuff. And as a millennial, there is one scene where they're loading logs onto a cart. Woo!
Oh my god. This scene is fucking hilarious. Okay. Nick Cage has just gone through freaking the fuck out at some lady. And then he's riding his little bicycle across town and he sees one of these guys loading logs onto a horse-drawn carriage. Right? Cart. Yeah. Right? And he goes, here, let me help. And he helps the man put one log onto the cart. They, like, by their powers combined, put a log onto the cart. And they put it on there, and the logs destabilize, and he spear tackles this man out of the way to save his life. And the guy, like, gets up, and he goes like, it's really dangerous. Thanks. And then gets on his bike and leaves.
He did the opposite of helping.
He effectively made more work and did not help at all.
Yeah, he did the exact opposite.
It's such a crazy scene.
It is.
Because, really is. Like, what are you establishing in that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of shots in this movie. There's a lot of sequences visually in this movie that appear to do nothing.
Yeah, they just sort of exist for Nick Cage, just Nick Cage around. It's pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
So on this island, it's a commune. It's all ladies, except for a couple of men. They call the men drones also.
Yes.
Which is another bit there.
Bee analogy,
and the bees, there's a lot of bee analogy here happening. Yeah. And like, okay,
all the ladies are named for plants.
All of the everybody is named for plants. Yeah. The feminine urge that I had to run off and join this commune for like a good portion of this movie was so strong that I was gonna be like, walk out the door, divorce, goodbye, never to be seen again.
Except this commune blows.
Except this commune is not all that great, right? But like there are some aspects of it.
Island in Washington, cult. Honey, obviously, and bees.
Everybody had great houses.
Everybody seemed to have a nice house.
They had lovely gardens.
Everybody did have a great garden.
It looked like they had a bunch of fun. Aside for and including the murder rituals.
Maybe. It looked like everybody had a bunch of drugs. Probably. But this is what I'm going to say about that. Not nearly as fun as the original.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. So one of the things that happens in this movie is Nick Cage meets Lady Summersisle, the like main head honcho, the queen bee, if you will, of this island, and she goes on this like long talk about paganism and leaving the world behind to create like a more perfect commune, and the idea and the synergy between like the bees and like humans, and also like she doesn't directly say that's why the men don't talk and why they are what they are, but I do seem to remember, because I have seen like the full version, because I saw this in the theater when it came out. Yeah. Like I do seem to remember her indicating something in potentially a deleted scene, or also maybe just my hallucination, that she's like, it has to be this way for us to have peace. So basically,
well, it's sort of implied that the men are only there for like labor, and like stuff. The necessary mating thing. But it's also implied that they get their mates from off island. Yes. And
a lot of this has to do with, they have some like large fertility and harvest rituals. In particular, this movie takes place where the like things happening in the movie happen in like late April, early May, which doesn't fit with the time frame of Lughnasadh. However, everything is very heavily harvest coded, which is why we feel that this matches Lughnasadh's energy. Also, bees. And I know that bees happen in the spring too, but there's something about the particular flavor of this movie, including the like sort of yellowy, orangey, like fall sunset golden hour kind of lens, like visual, like color, visual effects.
Well, I mean, the whole movie is very like harvest festival coded, but it's not like fall coded. Yeah, right. Like the trees are still green. But it's still like the harvest fest. Yeah. So it seems like it's the beginning of harvest. Yeah. Right? Which would be like late summer.
Yeah, I think they actually say like they do this festival now to ensure that they have a good harvest later. So this would be essentially like the planting festival. So Beltane wouldn't really be the right time frame for it. It showed a calendar, and it showed May 1st.
Did it show May 1st? It did. That feels weird. It did.
Or no, they didn't. They showed the calendar in the older movie. In this one, it was Lily Sobieski, the actress, who says that it's May. You know, the one "Take Me With You." Yeah. Boy, that girl gets a crazy eye in this movie. Woo! She gets crazy girlfriend face. Yeah. So this one has like a lot less undertones of like occult and magic and mysticism in it than the original movie does, but It does lean on some of those things, and also leans on them in a very specific and slightly different way.
Yeah, it really connects, like, it for sure has something to say about...
It feels a lot like it belongs in the world of Midsommar. Not the same cult, for sure, but, like, it feels very reminiscent of Midsommar. Or Midsommar feels very reminiscent of this.
Kind of. I mean, it's much more like Divine Feminine.
Yeah.
But honestly, in that sort of, like, 90s light and life,
yeah,
like, sort of nouveau feminism way. I don't mean that in like any sort of a negative way, but it's like really, like, surface level, like, we're making a bee analogy. Bees are ladies. A queen is in charge.
Yeah.
Don't think deeper than that. Please.
Yeah.
Don't think deeper than that. This movie isn't that well written.
Yeah.
Please don't think deeper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, it has some of the ritual. It has, like, and, like, in the grand scheme of things, the, like, final ritual bit is the same.
Yeah.
With the sacrifice to bring the harvest back, because last year's harvest was kind of shit.
Yeah.
Right? And it has the same, like, plot element about, like, oh, actually, it was all a ruse. We got you all along. Ha 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 ha. Like, that sort of thing. But it all feels significantly less valuable.
Yeah.
In this. It feels more like, honestly, it feels like a justification for Nick Cage to just punch the shit out of some ladies. Just absolutely rock some chicks. It's a very weird choice.
It's so
to
comical.
Have him do this.
It's so comical.
I don't really get why. And, like, again, like, they do the, like, nature magic thing, and they do, like, connection to paganism, but this very loose. Like, the most tenuous connection.
Yeah.
Right? They do, like, a bees, but, again, tenuous.
Yeah.
Right? This is all, like, a very thin veneer of... This is, well, for what it's worth, exactly what you would expect from 2006 Hollywood... Delta paganism, with regard to paganism, as a function of changing paganism. Like, it's there. They do not a Jesus, but, like, whatever, man. Bees are, and connecting to nature, and, like, the divine feminine, but, like, whatever, man. It's, like, dismissively non-feministy and non-feminine. It does, like, sort of a poor job connecting bees to any of it. It absolutely drops the ball with regard to, like, Harvest Fest or, like, any sort of pagan harvest or, like, pagan deities or anything like that. Again, it drops that in order to add, like... It almost feels like all the stuff, all the, like, mysticism... all the paganism, all the Harvest Festival, and all the, like, interesting pagan aspects of the original movie are dropped in order to try and, like, flesh out Nick Cage's character.
Yeah.
Which is sort of humorous in a movie that's supposed to be about, like, the divine feminine.
Yeah.
To, like... You make all the characters women, but they all have, like, less characterization.
Yes.
Right? You make the main character... Like, the main character is a guy, right? And you're trying to make this, like, statement about the divine feminine, but you, like...
Well, all the female characters are very, like, cardboard cutout.
They are.
They're all, like, very much that one specific thing.
They're very much so, like, that one's Ivy, that one's Willow, that one's
and what's interesting is
whatever.
It makes it so that the character in this that actually gets the most development, that is a female, is the Doctor.
Yeah.
The Doctor is the one that has the most facets of her personality. Because you've got the leader one, and you have the one that runs the bar one, and then you have this one. But the one that's the Doctor, she's a doctor and a photographer.
Yeah.
And she mentions her, like, mother and her mother before her. So, like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It feels, if I were to, like, put a particular twist on it, like if I were to try to like pin it down to like specific analysis of its like paganism and like divine feminine, like mother maiden crone, like bee analogy thing, is it's a sort of like thin veneer of paganism and divine feminine and like mysticism and magic, like very gently overlaid on a like very heavily male gazed concept
for sure
of a female cult. And like not just like male gaze. And I don't think that like I don't think that Nick Cage had like a hand in this, but it feels very engineered for the character Nick Cage is playing's specific male gaze. You understand what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
Like, it feels very engineered for that, and I think that is trying to be a reference to the fact that in the original movie, like, 4 or 5 ladies are trying to fuck that guy. And they're just like, that just means that everybody needs to be, like, this hot and, like, kind of weird around him. And you're like, that's not... Again, you weren't watching the movie. Thank you, but no, thank you. So, it's interesting, but it's not the most of the Wicker Man stories.
Yeah.
It's not the one that you're going to gain the most, like, magical insight
but
from.
It is fun, nonetheless. And
it is
also,
a fun
like,
movie.
Visually, it is a very fun movie because of, one, Nicolas Cage.
Just.
And his antics. But also, like, the locale that it takes place in, that most of this is filmed in, is just, like, pretty beautiful and gives you like the most cottage core vibes.
Yeah.
So like absolutely worth the watch. It is not a great movie, but you will have fun watching it.
It's very enjoyable.
As long as you're not trying to take it seriously in any fashion.
It's a great, like, if you're gonna have like a pagan party, it's a great pagan party movie.
Yeah.
Not where everybody's sitting down doing a meta-analysis of the magical practices of this, the thing that we're literally doing right now. Pretty shit for that. But, like, if you and your friends want to, like, hey, we're going to be doing crafts and watching movies before we do our ritual after dinner tonight, like, invite your friends over 3 hours early and put this movie on, you know, while you're, like, doing crafts.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm giving you this much time is because you are going to want to pause it and talk about the thing that you just saw happen. Okay? You know, because there are parts that are like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not? You know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Also, this movie is surprisingly, like PG-13 rated. Like, there's not a lot of, like, sexy stuff happening in this.
No, yeah, totally.
Like, the most, like, edgy thing that's happening is there's, like a corpse that you see, but that's like a ghost hallucination thing.
It's ghost corpse,
and then there's like some bloody stuff, but like not that much of anything really.
Yeah, even in the like full not the beast.
So even though we're talking
version.
about like this is like a male gaze version of like a female colony, and you know like knowing the absolute debauchery that happens in the 1973 version, like this is surprisingly sexless.
It is. It's almost weirdly sexless.
Yeah. Right?
It's like almost purposefully sexless. It's very strange. Especially if you've seen the 70s one recently. So we're just going to transition over into the 70s one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So welcome to the 1973 version that has Christopher Lee as Lord Summersisle.
So the 70s one doesn't have all that bullshit.
This one just cold drops you into the movie.
Yeah, it's just a song and this cop flying his airplane to the island.
Yeah.
Right?
And he just shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm a cop, get me a boat.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you guys over there, come get me a boat. And they're like, oh, I feel like we gotta talk to the lord of this island. I don't think we can just... And he's like, I'm a cop. Take me ashore, so help me God. And they're like, all right, dog, we'll fucking do it.
They're like, I don't know about that. And he's like, there's been a murder. I'm a cop. I have to investigate it. And they're like, I guess,
they're like,
fine.
Okay, I guess. So, this movie not only cold starts, it's not like a ladies' cult.
No.
dudes and ladies are on this island. In fact,
this just seems like a normal town.
The dudes are like the more interesting characters in this movie.
Yeah.
By a huge margin. The cop is more interesting by a huge margin. Right?
Even though we actually learn less about his backstory.
Well, but
all that we know is he's engaged.
You don't need to know about him. Yeah. Because he represents the like everyman of Christian faith.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the other thing that that is incredibly important in the 70s movie that just fucking fully doesn't exist in the 2006. I don't like, there's a few scenes where Nick Cage is like, why are you teaching kids this stuff? Or like, why are you saying stuff like that? But it feels so out of place that it kind of doesn't matter to the plot at all. But in the 70s movie, like, it's very clear that this is like a pagan sort of debaucherous city cult.
Yeah. In the very beginning of this movie. So, like, the cop goes into town, he's doing cop stuff, and he's going to stay at, like, basically what is the inn.
Yeah.
And
the bar, local
like
tavern.
The local tavern bar thing, which, like, if it's just a small island, why do they really need an inn? But at the same time, like, that makes sense that they have one.
Yeah. Well, every tavern has, like, a room you can rent.
Exactly.
It's just like
so he goes to the tavern and, like, rents this room, and, like, he goes into his room for the night, and the lady working in the tavern, whose name is Willow, so that's our tie back to the first movie, but she has no previous knowledge of this man.
Yeah.
In the tavern, they're singing, like, a body song, and then he's done, and he's gonna go to bed, and she's like, I'll help you into bed, and he's like, no thanks.
Yeah.
I'm engaged. Or something like that. And she's like, all right. And then slam cut to this woman is like, so he's in his room, in his PJs, trying to sleep with also maybe not a pillow.
No, first he's praying.
Oh, first he's praying.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the people downstairs start playing a little like jaunty tune.
Yeah.
Right? And
we don't see the people outside until after.
Yeah. They start playing a little jaunty tune. Right? And he's like, I'm trying to pray here. What's going on? And while he's doing this, the gal is in the room next door, heavy breathe singing.
And like thumping on the wall.
And like banging on the wall to the rhythm.
Like you're seeing him reacting to her and also this song and her singing. And all I can think of is Odysseus tying himself to the mast of his boat so that he can see the sirens but not interact with them.
Yeah,
because this man is literally sweating bullets. This guy
he's like trying to lay in bed like, I'm just trying to pretend to be asleep. Everybody leave me alone. And like downstairs the like music's playing, and next door this like naked lady's banging on the walls,
and she's doing like a little dance. There's a lot of nudity in this movie.
She's doing like a bang on a wall, and then like cuts to him sweating, and then it cuts to her and she's doing this like gyrating, this like quick gyrating thing.
Like gets it. She's getting it,
funny.
Man. It was so wild. And this is like a whole song. This is not a short snippet. There is a whole song. There are like 3 choruses that we go through where this is happening. But he resists.
Yeah.
And the song ends and he goes to bed. And she lays there in her bed basically unfulfilled.
Yeah.
Because she was definitely trying to get at that.
Yeah.
So we all of a sudden slam cut to outside, and it's like dark outside, but you can hear a bunch of like people in the distance making sexy time noises. And then like basically a light turns on. I don't know why. In my mind, I imagine it's emotional.
The guy who's walking through the thing has a lamp.
Oh, okay.
And so he's just like walking with a lamp like down the road or whatever. And so as he's like swinging the lamp and the lamp turns, it's just illuminating. I mean,
like a dozen.
Like 20 fucking people. Like 20 couples.
Yeah. Like a lot of people. Just
plus or minus 6 feet away from the next couple.
In a field.
Just in a field.
Next to each other.
In the dark.
In various positions.
Yeah. Wild.
And various levels of clothing. We were like, I'm sorry, what? So I've seen this movie before.
Oh yeah, multiple times.
Absolutely did not remember this.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely
I forgot,
did not
like,
remember
exactly
this.
How, like,
sexual
horny this movie is.
Maybe I saw like a TV version and it's like a 30-minute movie.
Oh my god, yeah, the TV version of this movie is so short. Yeah, and blurry.
And blurry. Yeah. So basically the same idea keeps happening, where the cop goes around to various places in the town saying, I'm a cop, I need to solve this crime, trying to find the body of this girl who's missing, who inevitably in both movies ends up being alive.
Yeah, she's totally fine. She's
totally fine. It's all a ruse. A wonderfully constructed ruse.
Yeah.
So, like, he's going around doing cop stuff, showing audacity, but not the same level of fervent audacity as Nick Cage.
Also, he's a cop. Technically, this island is part of the because he's
UK Commonwealth, because it's in Scotland.
It's in Scotland, and he's like an officer of Scotland, like a cop in Scotland.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, he at least has reasonable authority in this place, as opposed to Nick Cage, who has fucking no authority whatsoever.
Yeah, so, like, they do their own law keeping there, but, like, he technically is the law, so he keeps threatening, if you don't let me do it, then I'll come back and get more cops. And they're like, well, we don't really want that, so we'll just let this guy poke around and be adult.
And a large proportion of his audacity is, like, because he's like, why are you teaching kids about all this pagan shit?
Why are you teaching them?
You don't teach them about Jesus, and the teacher's just like, oh, they learn about Jesus in like comparative religion. They think it's very fascinating.
Yeah,
right. They're like dismissive of his faith, and he is upset, obviously, about a little dead girl, from his perspective, right? But he's almost more upset about the fact that
they're not showing reverence for Christianity.
Yeah, that these heathens are just, like, absolutely disrespecting this dude.
And let me tell you,
Lord.
As a heathen in 2025...
It is so fucking funny, dude.
It is so poignant.
The stone cold sass on every single one of these motherfuckers. When the fucking... The dude working the graveyard...
Yeah.
In the, like, ruined church. And the guy's like... the cop's just like... Where's your minister? And he's like, minister? Oh, no. Mm-mm. And just, like, keeps doing his little, like, cutting the lawn thing or whatever the fuck. Slays me. The level of just, like, no, sir, we don't do that here. This is not the place for that shit. Well, and he gets
really frustrated. And at one point later on, or maybe earlier in the movie, there's one point in the movie, in both movies, you see the ruins of an old church.
Yeah.
But I'm talking absolute ruins. There's not a roof on this. There's not even fully demolished. Yeah. There's just, like, some stones and stuff. So in this movie, he goes in there, and at one point, there's just, like, a random lady in there breastfeeding a baby. I don't know. Don't ask me. It's a weird cult island. And on the altar space that would have been the altar for the church itself, it's still standing, there's just, like, boxes of apples, because in the 2006 movie, it's bees, but in this movie, it's apples. That is the harvest that this island does.
It's all produce, but apples is their biggest
and
export.
There's, like, crates of apples, like, mostly empty, on this altar, and he gets so mad at this church being in ruins, and like talking to this old guy about the church thing, because they were like, they put the body in the usual place, and he's like, at the church? And they're like, yeah, I guess. So he goes to the church, this lady's breastfeeding there, and there's stuff all over the altar, and he gets absolutely unhinged mad, and, like, pushes everything off to the side of this altar, and then he grabs 2 sticks, and he, like, turns them into a cross, and then lays them decisively on this altar, and then just, like, glowers and harumphs and leaves, and this lady is, like, breastfeeding this baby, and is like, okay.
Yeah, like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, they're like mainlanders, I guess.
Whereas in the Nick Cage movie, there's a cellar, and it's flooded, and he thinks he hears the little girl.
Yeah.
A crypt, and it's flooded, and he thinks he hears a little girl in there. So he dives down in there, and then somebody closes the lid, and he spends a night holding on to the cage and not drowning. Wild. Which doesn't make any sense.
It does not make sense. He would have absolutely drowned.
Yeah. So whatever about that.
He didn't even have his arms.
But so in the 70s movie, he finally makes his way to, like, talk to the Lord Summersisle, played by
Christopher Lee.
Baby Christopher Lee. Oh my god.
Wearing full kilted attire.
Yeah,
too.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, nice.
And Christopher Lee is basically just like, oh yeah, like, we started this island and we, like, worship the old gods because, like, when we first got here, like, there wasn't getting, like, good food and good crops here, and, like, it was pretty shit. But then, like, I don't know, like they did something where they did like an old pagan festival, and the crops came in real good that year, and like my grandfather realized.
Then they have every year since, or something like that.
Yeah, well, it was like basically his grandfather realized that like worshiping the old gods and like being happy and like making offerings to the island and like caring about nature and stuff meant that the island took care of the people. So that's what they decided to do.
And let me tell you, in the previous movie, it was the feminine urge to go live in this all-female commune. And in this movie, it was the absolute millennial pagan urge to go and live in this commune.
Absolutely, I would live in this commune.
Buy me a ticket. Yeah. Y'all, who is ready to go in on buying a private island? Let's go.
Way more beautiful.
Way more beautiful.
Way more beautiful than the 2006 movie. Like, way
larger
more beautiful.
Island, too.
Also much larger.
Also a much larger island,
true,
yeah.
That's true.
And everybody there is having a great time.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Nicolas Cage one, the men on that island definitely were not having a great
Honestly,
time.
it seemed like about half the ladies weren't having a good time either.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but
the
on
Nick
this
Cage
island,
one, like, not
everybody's
very many
having a
people
good
were
time.
happy.
Everybody is getting down and dirty.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everybody has
so
like
much sex.
what seems like their own place to stay.
Yep.
People are laughing and they're singing songs and they're doing like weird naked ritual dances. And I am so here for all of this. They're jumping over bonfires naked. And the cop sees them doing this like naked ritual thing and jumping over bonfires naked and tries to talk to Christopher Lee's character about how wrong this is.
Yep.
And Christopher Lee's like, well, you wouldn't want to be wearing clothes to jump over
There'd be a fire
bonfire,
hazard,
would you?
obviously. Yeah.
And the cop is just sputtering.
Yeah.
Sputtering. So this movie also has a bunch of songs in it. I wouldn't call this movie a musical.
No.
But there is a lot of music in it. And all of the music in it, including some of the body songs in the taverns that they're singing, are very, very pagan related.
Yeah.
They talk about different Sabbats. This one, we do see a calendar. And I believe they may also say that this one is May.
Mm-hmm.
But they talk very specifically about the festival of Lammas, which is Lughnasadh.
Yeah.
And it's very clear that is the harvest festival, that is the thing that's kind of like setting off all of the clues to find the dead body of this little girl. And all of the songs are very like pagan inspired. In general, this is a very positive movie about heathen and pagan practices. Yeah. I mean, yes, it's a cult, and in order to fulfill the cult mission, they have to sacrifice somebody. And that's maybe not great. I said maybe. But they're not going through the same sort of dastardly things that the 2006 movie is. Things are very like much more organically, like, yes, the cop gets the letter, but it's not about like his ex and like a child that may or may not be his, and the whole situation behind that. He's just trying to solve a murder. We don't know anything about this cop other than we saw like a flashback of him doing like maybe doing like churchy stuff in his past. It is unclear exactly what that is. But something like a deacon or like a priest would be doing. And like, we know that he's engaged. That's all that we know about him. Right. Yeah. So he could be a bad guy. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, and when the cop is like finally cornered and about to be sacrificed, he does have like this sort of poignant conversation with Christopher Lee, with Lord Summersisle, where he's like, how do you know that this sacrifice will bring the harvest back? Like, what if next year it doesn't? Then all these people will ask for another sacrifice, and then who else is there to blame but you? Right? He's trying to like sort of logic out this like sacrifice isn't the solution to the problem. And Lord Summersisle it's like the one sequence where you can sort of see the sort of like hand of Christian faith sort of put its thumb down on like, if you're going to do a movie like this, you've got to kind of poo-poo the paganism. Yeah. Is he says, like, I just know that it'll work. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, they sort of leave that open-ended.
As you know, if you're a regular listener, that the power of intention is something that matters.
Precisely.
Right?
Precisely.
But in general, there are a lot of really interesting conversations about the, like, sort of Christian path that the cop wants them to walk and the pagan path that the rest of the island is walking. So there are some interesting discussions and back and forths about this, observations from the cop and such. Mm-hmm. And he even takes part in like a parade at one point too. And it's kind of interesting because at one point you can see that the actor gets into the part that he's playing in the parade. He's in disguise. They don't know that it's him in this parade.
Just like how Nick Cage dressed up like the bear and then ran in there and punched a bunch of ladies. This guy doesn't do no punching. But he dresses like the fool, right? Because in this ritual you have the man dressed like a maiden.
Yeah, which is Christopher Lee. So if you ever want to see Christopher Lee in a dress, now's your chance.
Yep. And like, honestly, ghost makeup.
It's wild.
It's very wild.
Yeah.
But it's like the man dressed like a maiden. And then the man dressed like a horse.
Yeah, the man dressed like a horse.
And then the fool who's king for a day.
Yeah.
And of course, king for a day. That's why he's also the one that sacrificed. It's all an elaborate ruse. They got you this whole time. Ha 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 ha. For what it's worth, I think that, just to like off subject and go on the 2006 one again, I think that the Nick Cage dressing like a bear to get in on it is the reason why they dress the guy like a bear in Midsommar.
Yeah.
I think that is a direct reference to the Nick Cage movie. 100%.
Yeah.
So
remember I said?
Yeah. No.
It's like an homage and you're like, I don't know. And I'm like, absolutely. Now I see.
I think it's, yes. I don't know. Maybe.
What? You literally just said the words.
No. So I think that that's for sure a direct homage, although I am prepared to learn that Nick Cage homage is an homage to something different because they don't have a bear person in the 70s movie.
That is correct. Yes.
But the 70s movie does have
bears like honey.
People dressed in other animal masks.
Oh my gosh,
many
animal masks. They're
in
horrifying.
The 70s movie are a fucking goddamn nightmare.
Those are a nightmare.
Holy shit. Like, it is not a horror movie, literally, at all, full stop. But those masks really make you wonder, like, is there a fucking spooky script for this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, those masks, fucked up, dude.
They make this movie horror.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. But no, this movie, it has a lot to do with, like
because you're talking about the harvest so much. And, like, because obviously we're talking about paganism and like, offerings and like how that works.
Well, but it's not just about the paganism and the offerings and the magic and things like that, although they do talk about all that and they do all that on the island. It's sort of implied that part of it is the fact that like paganism is, in the grand scheme of things, a thing where you are free to connect with nature in your own way, whereas Christianity is a thing that is like limiting, and like people who are happy and free will work harder, and that is part of the reason why the island is so prosperous and there is no crime and everybody's happy and everything's peaceful and everybody works together.
Yeah.
There's this like implied freedom on this island that like goes directly against the like structure of Christianity that this police officer believes.
Yeah.
Right? And so it almost feels like the movie's sort of giving a retort on the like basic concept of how like hyper controlling monotheistic religions limit our freedoms and our happiness, and how that's like negative. It's not like very directly saying these things, but it's sort of like indirectly circling these things, you know? And again, that is one of the reasons why I think that in the end they had to have that conversation, you know, that sort of like thumb from the studio conversation, thumb on the needle, where he says like, how do you know this is going to work?
Yeah.
Right? This is just a belief. Like, what? Like, at that point in time, he's not even arguing like this isn't appropriate in the eyes of the Lord, right? In the eyes of Jesus Christ. He's literally saying like, how do you know this is real? If this doesn't work, next year you'll be on the chopping block. How can you take that risk? You know what I mean? Like, he almost drops the pretense of Christianity and argues that the, like, root logic of the paganism that's being practiced is intrinsically inaccurate.
Yeah.
Right? But even in the light of that argument, you see Christopher Lee, Lord Summersisle, say, no, I know it will work.
Yeah.
Right? He puts his foot down about, I know it will work. And then once he says that, you see the officer immediately return to his faith. And that's when he starts singing hymns to himself.
Yeah.
While they load him up in the Wicker Man to burn his ass alive with all the other animal sacrifices and stuff like that. And both movies do have animal sacrifice as well. The Wicker Man is like full of other animals like pigs and chickens and ducks and shit.
Yeah.
Rabbits and shit.
Yeah. So the thing about the Wicker Man comes from the like sort of OG travel bloggers in ancient Rome, and I forget who it is off the top of my head, but and I'm gonna absolutely kick myself after this is done. In fact, I may have you add in the name just because I'm gonna be like, ah. Anyway, traveled along with the armies and like basically documented what it is that they saw. And when they went to the like great forests to the north where Germanic tribes would have lived, they found that some of the tribes there and some of the people there, because when I say tribes, I just mean like sort of small disparate bands of people that live there, sort of townships in isolated areas even. They had a practice of sacrificing people in a wooden structure, and not just people, but also livestock and grain and meat and produce and other items that would be considered valuable for offerings. They would sacrifice them, and most of the time these sacrifices were willing, in order to appease their gods to have a better harvest. And there isn't a specific time frame as far as I'm aware off the top of my head about it, but it indicates by the maybe the date, but also by the time that they're sort of talking about this, that this is very much tied to a harvest festival. And while you could have this kind of festival earlier in the year, you certainly wouldn't have all the livestock that you would need earlier in the year for this type of a festival and this type of a sacrifice. You would, however, at the beginning of harvest season or right before harvest season. So really the ancient custom of constructing a Wicker Man to sacrifice would happen sometime between Beltane and Lughnasadh, because you wouldn't want it to be during the actual harvest or during like the middle of the harvest or the end of harvest, because that's already happened.
Well, you're busy,
right?
You're busy. You're doing the work.
You're doing those things.
Yeah.
So Lughnasadh is sort of like the latest date that it would be for this sort of thing. And oftentimes when we look at the history of this stuff, the sort of like spring and summer festivals and the summer and fall festivals kind of get like mishmashed together in different areas. Sometimes they celebrate one but not another, or they sort of mush them all into one. It really depends on that individual community. So trying to say they always did it at this time is definitely not a helpful way to look at this sort of thing.
Yeah,
it's easier to look at these things like a flow.
I mean, look at the burning of the effigy of Winter.
Yes,
that could have easily been a big ass straw ass man.
Absolutely. As well as this is a custom that was adopted by Burning Man, you know, the festival.
And Burning Man
just happened
last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so
or
Burning
something?
Man happens right in the like prime of that like Lughnasadh Lammas time frame.
Yeah.
So we're looking at really kind of those same time frames there. Now, the themes for Lughnasadh are really about honoring the harvest and ensuring a good harvest.
Yeah.
So we see these themes echo through these stories, regardless of these stories trying to tell you that they're taking place at an earlier time of year. I suspect that is just sort of like I suspect that in the 70s movie, it's because the pagan side of things, what we know is the pagan side of things of the Sabbats today, was just starting to form then. This was all so new, and everybody had their own way of doing this. And we talk about this a lot in some of the older of the Sabbat series, not just Lughnasadh, but all of them, where like these festivals, these were for the most part created in like the 50s to the 70s.
Yeah.
So less than 100 years ago. So it's possible that after having some nuance and refinement, that if these movies were made for the first time today, the 73 version, if that were made for the first time today, it would probably take place during a different time of year.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always kind of got a vibe of like late summer or early
fall.
Or early fall for it.
Yeah. It's not pumpkin fall time.
No.
It's like, well, for us, it's like fire fall time.
Yeah.
Wildfire time.
Yeah. It's like end of summertime.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, it feels, it's a very September coded movie.
It is a very September coded movie.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Both of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Even though like they in character scene that they're set in May or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think they're great Lughnasadh movies. I think that maybe the newer one has less of that than
for sure.
Than the 73. But I think that it's still entertaining as a movie. Yeah. The 73 is, from my perspective, a significantly more interesting movie. Yes. There's a lot more to say about paganism and about living with the land and about like happiness and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, it's also like a significantly less family appropriate movie.
Oh yeah.
So like it depends on what you're trying to do, I mean, you could argue that like the 2006 movie could just be like almost be just a horror movie.
Yeah.
Whereas like there's no hallucination on what the 73's going on.
Yeah.
About. Yeah. But there's some fucking great music in it. The costumes are fantastic in the 73. The island is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. Both islands are.
Both
in
islands
their own
are.
like specific way.
I would for sure join the live on the island of Lord Summer's Isle in the 73. The Lady Island one just it feels
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. No, it feels, I don't know. The cult feels like significantly more like
not
evil.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a scene in the 2006 where where Lady Summer's Isle, Sister Summer's Isle, whatever the fuck, is lounging in her bed after Nick Cage just had like a little panic attack run around her house.
Yeah.
And there's just like 6 ladies like standing in the room
quietly
with her quietly. It all feels like so much more like controlling and ominous,
yeah,
and like dark and evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
definitely the cult in the 73 version is a much more fun cult. I would rather be a part of that cult.
Yeah, it's a significantly chiller like pagan cult.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And Lord Summer's Isle seems tight. So yeah. I want to sing body songs in a pub every night with my fucking friends. So,
right?
Yeah, I'm very here for that shit. But yeah, I don't know.
So tell us, have you seen these movies? Yeah. What did you think?
What's your favorite scene in both movies? 2006, 73.
Ooh, okay. 2006 favorite scene. Oh man. It's really tough. But like honestly, the one that made me like absolutely bark with laughter is the first time that Nick Cage just like decks a lady.
Oh yeah, when he decks the chick in the bar who's going to be in the bear costume.
Yeah.
He just cold knocks her out.
Because it feels like it comes out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
And he just goes fully unhinged.
Yeah.
Right? Like that one just
Yeah.
You heard me from the other room.
Yeah. For me, the best scene in the 73 or in the 2006 without a doubt is when he just runs into frame in a bear costume and just rocks that chick in the face. It's so absurd. And like, to what end?
Well, and the punches are so unrealistic too. They're doing it's like
it's like
sound,
WWE punches.
And
the reaction
cold.
is like
the reactions are so absurd.
Right? He kicked. He
they're not going for realism
that one girl
here
into the paintings.
Yeah.
he like really kicks the shit out of these chicks for no reason.
Yeah. And then from the 73, or wait, what's your favorite from the Nick Cage one? Oh, you just said that. My bad.
Yeah.
I got so excited about it. And then from the 73 version, okay, so my favorite scene is Lord Summersisle is in his like manor, and he's like playing the piano and singing a song with the lady who's the teacher, and they're just drinking and having a good old time. It's such a simple scene. It really doesn't do much of anything other than like sort of set the tone for the people in the movie. But like there's something about that scene that I just like loved so much.
Yeah.
Right?
For me, it's literally the first sequence.
Oh, in the tavern?
In the tavern. They're singing a bawdy song about like about the tavern keeper's daughter, like taking home the tavern keeper's daughter or whatever. And there's the big guy, big guy with the beard who is dressed like the horse at the end. One of the gals who's like dancing with him is like dancing with him, and he's wearing a kilt the entire time in that sequence, and he's got his hands up like my hands are up here, but he's like bumping her with his hips like out of frame to get him and her out of frame while the musicians are trying to like move into frame or whatever. And I don't know if it was like an on purpose set piece or just them, but it's just you in this moment, even though it's like one of the first scenes. I mean, it's like maybe 8 minutes into the movie, right? In this moment, you get this like clear picture that like this isn't there's nothing nefarious here.
Yeah.
These are a bunch of people who choose to live here of their own free will, who are having a great time, who are living happy lives, who are just happy. It's this like truly joyous thing. And it sets a tone for the movie where even through all the like weird stuff, you're always brought back to the fact that like everybody there wants to be there and enjoys being there. And there's like a community there.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking very hilarious body song.
It is.
In a movie full of a lot of very funny,
songs.
very body songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's probably my favorite scene from the 2000 or from the 73. I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's your favorite scene from these movies? Have you seen these movies? Which cult island would you like to live on?
Which cult island would you like to live on? For sure.
So yeah, absolutely. What do you think about all that stuff?
And also, do you have a Lughnasadh movie that you think fits?
Oh yeah, what's your
Lughnasadh movie?
So share that along with us. Comment below. You like this video, subscribe, do whatever it is. If you're listening to this on the podcast network, do all that sort of stuff. We appreciate that. And we'll catch you next time for like more of this podcast or whatever. Shout out to our patrons.
Yep.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you for helping us do what we do and better every time. We love you guys so much.
Yep, absolutely. And if you'd like to join, there's links everywhere. It's Nerd Jive.
Yeah, and if you want to support us for free, like this video, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, so download the episodes, do whatever the algorithm wants you to do on whatever platform that you're doing with it.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, I'm John Norgrove. This is Julie Norgrove. This is the Horn
and Cauldron
podcast. Stay magical, folks.
Yeah, and don't forget, breathe in self-confidence and breathe out self-doubt.